Very good morning to everybody and welcome to a Green CIFA conference on the day of the Informal EU Summit in Brussels. And we will present the green proposals for the Greek recovery. And I give the floor here with Nikos Chrysogelos, who is our Greek member, Greek Green MEP, and Cohn-Bendit, President.
To 15 billion euros per year, and we think that it should be the EMS that should finance this, because that is the function. And then we have a whole slew of proposals. You have the Green New Deal for investment in Greece, energy savings, savings in imports of energy, which eats up a lot of the budget in Greece. We also want a total freeze of military expenditure for the coming years. We want a total freeze. And then thirdly, the European Union should be responsible for border safety and security and basically take control or take responsibility for Greek borders and immigration, asylum seekers and so forth, of which there are many trying to enter Greece. So our proposal is that we try to invent a new structure in Greece to be an investment agency, as it were, managed by the European Union and by the regions and municipalities directly, where we would have specific growth and investment projects to create jobs with SMEs, jobs in the energy sector. And so what we're trying to do is to strengthen Mr. Raschenbach's mission, the idea to create this type of agency to avoid the hemorrhaging in the public sector in Greece. And the absorption of European funds is one of the big problems Greece is facing today, so that has to be dealt with as well. We would like for the Commission to tackle the problem of trying to stem the social shock. There are two things that have to do with this. One of them is the cuts in salaries. We need to have negotiations with the social partners, i.e. private, state, and trade union partners. Let me give you an example. A German professor in Greece 2 years ago would get 1,400 a month, and the same professor gets 700 euros right now. That's not tenable. That's not viable. People are having their salaries cut in half. Pensioners who had 1,100 euros 2 years ago only have 650 now. That is not viable. So we need to renegotiate and see if we haven't actually gone a bit too far with austerity, because austerity has a negative impact not only on the poor but on huge swaths of the Greek population. And then, of course, we have to look if we can temper the situation through the European funds for the poorest. We want to make sure that people have enough for sustenance. We need to also take care of retired persons. So we need to temper the blow that has hit the Greek population. Now, this doesn't boil down to a yes or no to the memorandum. The future of Greece lies in the future of its democracy and the democratic substance of that country. And this is not something that can be guaranteed with a unilateral position on either side of the fence, i.e., for the memorandum or against the memorandum. Today, everyone needs to assume responsibility for others. Greece needs to take responsibility for Europe, and Europe needs to take responsibility for Greece. The necessary solutions are not unilaterally defined by Greece or unilaterally defined by Europe. So we need to send a clear signal. And this middle solution is the solution we're trying to work with the Greens in Greece. Nikos.
Kalimera.
Good morning. Yes, indeed, I am new in the Green Group. I am a new MEP here. Once again, I'm new in the Greek Group because I began my term here on the 2nd of February. But of course, I've always followed the efforts made by the Greens in the European Parliament, expressing that solidarity towards different countries of Europe. And at this point in time, the Greens are now submitting a proposal for changes, for reform, which is quite different from the two strategies which are being formed in Greece right now. The one strategy is that which wants no change whatsoever with regard to the memorandum, and the other group wants total exit from the euro. But we, as Greens in the European Parliament, we see that there is another way to go, another road which can be taken, promoting reforms, just reforms in Greek society, but also changes which are absolutely necessary and imperative for Greek society as well. The position of Greece is a position which ought to maintain, it ought to be in the Eurozone, it ought to enjoy European solidarity. There has to be support for Greece on the one hand, but there also has to be a greater initiative made, more initiatives made on the part of Greek society. Reforms have to be an issue of Greek institutions, Greek politics, and Greek society. And that's why we have proposed these particular measures to take into consideration the fact that Greek society will indeed participate in this entire issue, because these are proposals which are socially just, realistic. They will achieve important things at the financial level, but it will involve institutional changes, economical changes as well, and strengthening social solidarity, offering to people who have lost their jobs some sort of hope, some sort of support, and which are now facing a serious social problem, that of exclusion, that of alienation altogether. Problems which have been created because of the memorandum which is in place right now. But what we would like to propose is something that goes beyond elections. It involves the day after elections. What is going to happen the day after? This is important. We have elections on the 17th of June. There will be some sort of balance created between political powers, of course, but the important thing is what's going to happen after that. So we have to change, we need reform, we need European solidarity, we need European alliances, and the proposals that we have made are to the benefit of Greece and to the benefit of Europe as a whole. Just as Danny said earlier on, Europe and Greece together will solve the problem that exists. Unilaterally, we cannot solve these problems. And I'd like to summarize what Danny said. First of all, we need a greater margin to achieve these aims, which are very, very difficult to achieve, these financial aims. So we need to achieve these in a socially just fashion. So we propose for these particular targets to be extended to 2016 from 2014. And furthermore, we need support from the European Stability Package as well. We need to revitalize the Greek economy. There were already problems in the past, even greater problems right now because of certain policies that have been adopted. We need reform, we need to become more green, we need more social cohesion, and we need more effective policies overall to achieve not only the financial aims but the social aims as well. We've submitted these proposals in the form of the list that was presented by Danny. The issue now isn't to increase competitiveness by downgrading labor conditions or reducing wages and salaries. But what we need basically are energy efficient policies, green policies, better organization, creation of jobs, getting rid of red tape through an entire framework that is much more just overall. So we need changes, we need reforms, and in the memorandum as it stands right now, we need a change in the conditions that are established in order to maintain a real just situation. We would like to invite the Commission to reanalyze the memorandum so that we can really truly adhere to European values. In crisis in Greece or elsewhere, we can't promote policies which go contrary to the European acquis, the social acquis, to all of that which has been achieved all these years. Our proposal has a vision and is realistic and can be implemented in these times of crisis. So we would like to invite the Commission to reanalyze this particular program, this memorandum, and to present a report to the Parliament to see to what extent it goes hand in hand with the needs of Europe, with the European social acquis. The other thing which is very important, and it was mentioned by Danny on numerous occasions, Greece has spent huge amounts for arms. It has spent over 208 billion for arms since 1974 to date. This is a huge amount. At a moment when we have these austerity measures, these reduction, this slashing of wages, we can't have these military expenditures of 1 billion, 2 billion, and so forth. So we have to have European guarantees. We have to stop purchase of arms or any sort of military hardware. And I think we can do that. The strength and the will does exist, but it is something which has to be implemented. Furthermore, we have to strengthen Greece's fight with the issue of illegal immigration. There is 309 million are available right now in a fund which is to support Greece on this immigration issue. This amount ought to be used to improve the life of individuals, of asylum seekers and immigrants in Greece. And furthermore, very important is for the European Union to help Greece to be able to draw the information necessary with regard to Greek deposits abroad. There are over 180 billion in Greek deposits which are abroad in Switzerland and elsewhere. We do not have information with regard to these monies, with regard to these deposits. We don't know whether these deposits are the fruit of legal funds, legal monies, or whether they're the result of illegal transactions. So the Commission in this particular effort is going to have to play a role as far as helping us to get information with regard to Greek deposits in European banks and to see whether they are legal or illegal. If they are legal, fine. If there has been some sort of legislation circumvented or if there is illegal activity involved, then these monies are going to have to return to public treasuries. And furthermore, Europe is going to have to help Greece with regard to the issue of corruption that is corruption of Greek companies and European undertakings as well, which are active in Greece. And finally, money has to really go where it is necessary in order to change the economy, to create jobs, and to create social cohesion. Thank you very much.
The floor is open for your questions now. If there are any.
First of all, Papadimitriou is my name. I work for Deutsche Welle. First of all, a question for Mr. Chrysogelos. How can we get information with regard to corruption? when there is frequently no proof with regard to corruption. We see that clearly in the Siemens scandal. Contrary to what one would have expected, Siemens had proof with regard to the black money or illegal funds that it was circulating. This doesn't frequently take place. We don't have proof. So how are we going to get that proof with regard to corruption concerning companies? Now, a question for Mr. Cohn-Bendit as well. And I'll pose that question in German.
So as follows, my question to Mr. Cohn-Bendit, to what extent the financial transaction tax, which is just being debated in Parliament at the moment and being voted on, would be used to finance rescue measures for Greece or other countries who are in financial difficulties? So to what extent it could be used fully or partially? Well, on the financial transaction tax, the fact that it's being discussed in Parliament it doesn't mean that it'll be voted on today. So I can't really see that this is actually going to exist within the next 2 or 3 years, this tax. And Greece needs money now. So if we want to act quickly, I don't think it's going to be by using financial transaction tax money. I don't think it's really going to constitute part of the European budget before 2013 or 14. So it is necessary, but it's not going to provide an immediate response. Now, on corruption, the problem is that, well, all contracts relating to arms or public procurement in Greece have to be in the open, on the table in Greece, so that it's possible to look to see which companies have benefited from these contracts and to look at the accounts of these companies to see what happened, because that's how the problem with Siemens was discovered. So it's a question for the judiciary looking at the contracts, and that's how you uncover corruption.
I think particularly in the Siemens case, we did have indictment and conviction in Germany. Right now, the former Minister of Defense is under investigation because of involvement in this corruption scandal. There are a number of other issues as well, however, and I think as far as transparency in Greece and Europe, pressure from the Commission would be very helpful as far as revealing illegal funds, misappropriation of funds, or any sort of corruption whatsoever on the part of companies, Greek and European. And with some sort of system of transparency, this illegal money would not be able to circulate freely in Europe. Thank you. From Evrozo GR, Michalis Kazas. What you said is understandable, but in Greece, contrary to other countries in Europe, the Greens don't have much power or any power. If the electoral result during the next elections is similar to what it was now, well, the left will play a very important role, and they will ask for your support and help. Come to the parliament or not come to the parliament. Now, do you feel that you would be in a position to cooperate with the left, particularly with the Syriza party, the Alliance of the Radical Left? Mr. Chrysogelos responds, this would involve not only cooperation at the government level, it would involve cooperation as far as changing Greek society. This discussion has not taken place yet because people are so angry. There's such fury right now in Greek society. But right now we have to transcend all of this. We have to enter a new period of change, of reform. If in the elections one party comes out on top, this doesn't mean that there will be some sort of automatic solution, because the majority that any party will get will be 19-20%. A majority will not be there. So what we have to do is we have to bring together some sort of new way. There are those that want to change nothing, and there are others right now that are taking a very risky and rocky path. But what we need are European alliances and not acrobatics, political acrobatics which might lead the country into a quagmire. What we need are strong alliances working together with Europe with realistic, coherent proposals which call for change and reform, at the back of which and above all of which is social cohesion. If, however, we continue with this same conflict between the two poles, between black and white, there will be no solution for Greece. Because with these proposals, of course, what we've presented to you, Danny and I, have shown, or these are proposals which do make some sort of offer for some sort of change, some sort of radical change in the country from the down up. If we expect something to magically take place in this polarized environment, no success.
One very simple thing. The problem with regard to the left, there are two factors here. Cancelling everything that was decided relating to wages and salaries, cuts in salaries, and then a minimum salary of 1,300 euros. It's madness. It's absolutely madness. If you really are asking anybody to adopt this program, well, it's like saying, how do you want to kill yourself? Do you want to use a gun or an axe? So you can't ask people to work together with such a program. It's made up of nothing but lies. And I can understand the Greeks. 1,300 euros minimum salary. Well, people will be able to work with something. Everybody knows that a left-wing government is not going to be able to produce a minimum salary of 1,300 euros. It just can't happen. So if you review the slash to salaries, if you say there's going to be a minimum of 1,300 euros, Europe's going to say, well, that's the end. How do you expect to pay that? Where's the money going to come from? Because Europe's not going to provide any more. So the Greek coffers are empty. They're going to be paying the officials, the civil servants, the army. What money are they going to be used to pay these people? The 1,300 euros minimum, well, how are they going to impose that? It's not going to happen. So people are going to come out into the streets. The Greeks are going to come out into the streets, and I can perfectly understand why they would. And they're going to be saying, look, you promised something, we want it. So there'll be a social shock. The left won't be able to respond. Who's going to actually do something about it? Who's going to sort it out? Well, there's a long tradition of that in Greece. There's a long tradition. So if I ask you, are you going to be able to collaborate with this madness? That's no good. Are you going to go along with things being the way they are at the moment? No. So you have to have a third way which can get everybody involved. Now, if the Greeks don't see a third force in the parliament, well, that's going to be the situation. We'll see what happens in Greek society. But at the moment, there's a clear political proposal, a third force between stupidity and madness.
It's the last question because we have to go to the votes.
Sabine Arnaud, je travaille à...
Sabine Arnaud, Challenge Economic magazine from Paris. Have the Greek people been given an explanation as to how the Eurozone can help them out? Are there any figures? Have people been told being in the Eurozone has been good for you?
Yes, with regard to many things, of course, the Greek political system can be accused because there has not been a serious discussion with regard to the crisis, the reasons behind the crisis, and the changes that have to take place. And that is the greatest problem indeed, because in the country, there is no cohesive program which has been formed which would introduce reforms. In this very difficult situation, the polls have shown that Greeks in general the majority are in favor of remaining in the Eurozone, over 75%, even the polls that have been conducted right now under these difficult conditions. People feel that Greece ought to remain in the Eurozone. What we have to discuss today in Greece is the strategy to remain in the Eurozone, however, because we need reforms in Greece, and we need the support and not the punishment of Europe, and we need a change of conditions a change of the conditions which have led to problems in the Eurozone because of structural issues. The Eurozone has problems. It's not a Greek problem alone, it's a problem in other countries as well. So we have to change in Greece, and the Eurozone as well has to change. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much and have a nice day.